So we're on the bridge of the Galatea. This is the main navigating point. Chart table here, paper charts. Got a dynamic positioning system, electronic charts. This is our radar. And on this side we've got all the controls for the engines and the steering. So we have two azimuths at the back end or aft on the ship and two bow thrusters, and that's the controls for those at the forward end, and they enable us to manoeuvre very accurately. Really, we can spin on a penny. Predominantly the captain, first officer and there's 3 second officers man the bridge 24/7, depending on whether we're going in and out of port or we're approaching a navigational aid, or if we're just steaming, depends on the composition. So we have a integrated bridge, so a lot of the information is collected by the individual pieces of equipment and sent through to our main conning station forward. And this is some of that equipment. So we have several gyros which give us direction. There's a Navtex receiver which gives us information, sort of navigational importance. We have an echo sounder. We've got a log. This is our AIS system and some of the communications equipment that we would routinely use depending how far from land we are. The colours represent our ideal response time to a navigational casualty in those areas. So for example in the Dover Straits, where we have a large number of navigational aids and where there is a high density of traffic, we maintain a quicker response than we would perhaps more in the North Sea, further away in the green areas really on this map. So this is another part of the bridge where we have all really of our auxiliary pieces of equipment to help us do our job. We have control of the navigation lights. We have an indicator panel for the hull openings, which in an emergency is quite useful. Also in an emergency we can close all our watertight doors remotely from up here. We have a anti-roll system for stabiliser that can be controlled from here. The whole vessel is ISPIS compliant, which is security, and part of that we have a CCTV system which we can monitor from up here. We have a fire alarm panel. Also on the firefighting side we have a high fog system, and that's the sort of the monitoring unit for that from on the bridge. We can also set off the general emergency and the fire alarms from up here and operate things like the fire pump and the emergency fire pump. So as well as the navigational equipment we have forward, we have two stations at the aft end of the bridge where we get a much better view of our aft working deck for when we're working the deck. And a lot of the equipment is all duplicated. So again, we have the controls for our azimuths, the controls for our bow thrusters, a remote readout from depth, the log, and then we have the same screens again for our dynamic positioning system. And then we've got a multi-screen that we can put either on an electronic chart or on our radar as we see fit and need. This is Ben, one of our second officers, working on our survey suite. It's actually got two different types of survey up. The one that's on the left-hand screen is a bank area survey, and the one on the right is a wreck survey. We have a sonar system that sends out a swath that we then collect the data from. We then take all of that data and we process it. And that enables us, like on this one, to get the depths presented, and we can change the colours depending on what we're trying to present. We can overlay the data onto existing charts and then see how contours and depths have moved. Typically we tend to survey in reasonably shallow water, though the system can survey up to about 3,000 metres. Typically in the sort of shallow water we operate, we should be able to pick something up that's around about 2 metre square. Various different reasons we go off and survey an area. Obviously we're interested in safe navigable water, so quite often we'll survey one of our channels to make sure our buoys still correctly mark the channel. And again with the wrecks, obviously when a new wreck comes up, a new danger, we're interested in finding out about that to decide whether it is a danger to general navigation or whether it's in deep enough water to be considered not a danger.